G'day, mate.
Alright, what's up guys, and welcome back. So we've made it over to Tauranga this morning to see our man Lynn. We pumped out all our gas last night just using the pump, and then blew out the lines and pumped it out of the surge as well. But come over this morning, we've had the injectors cleaned, got it all running on 98, so we put 20 litres of 98 in this morning, but then it's still registering 26% ethanol. So we're going to try and drop that down a bit more, just because he said he'd like to do the first tune on less than whatever we usually run it on, just so that it's got something less for its basically its baseline, so that when it comes to, because we'll probably do the same whenever we put gas in it, we'll just pump it out, throw in 98, and then yeah, so it'll probably always be around that 26. But the first tune he does on that, he wants it to be lower than what we usually would, so ideally like an, even if it's only E10 or something, so it's real low, or none would be ideal obviously, but yeah, real low. So we've just drained out the 20 we put in, got another 20 and put that in just to try and thin it out some more, and so hopefully we get it lower now, and it's all hooked up on the dyno, so we're going to get in some dyno runs and start tuning it on 98 I guess. Alright, so we had a few dramas. We melted a lead already, so I've actually had to get my brother to shoot over from Rotorua because we didn't bring any spare parts, but spare lead, chucked that on, and because it was breaking down up top, but we've sorted that, and now believe it or not, it is making more power on 98 than it's ever made. So we got up to 419. The most I've got out of this thing is 410 on E85, so don't ask me what's going on. But that's cool, like it seems pretty stable in that, so I'm pretty happy with that. Now we're going to start adding the E85 I guess, and get it up to that and start tuning that. Alrighty, so the results are in. It was actually a couple of days ago we finished up there. That was the last run we done, and yeah, we sort of just packed up, brought the car home, and it had been a long day, so I didn't come back till now, a couple of days later. So yeah, if we check out the dyno sheets, I'll start with an old one. This was done October 2019 when I first put the V8 in the S14, and it was on E79 as we can see there, and we made 409 kilowatt and 730 newton meters of torque. And a lot of that was because we put the 4.1 in it. You know, we used to only make about 400 kilowatt with the 3.7, and we went to a 4.1, and that sort of shot us up to 409. But you would have pieced together that we actually made more than that this time on just 98. So that was weird, but there was a few factors in it that might contribute to that, and I'll talk about that soon. But yeah, if we look at Saturday's results, Yellow is 98, green is E85. So 419 kilowatt on 98, 432 on E85. And then 730 Newton meters of torque, 750. So, to be honest, that's not a lot of gain on E85. You know, for all the extra effort and stuff that goes into running E85, it certainly, to me, isn't that worth it based on power and that. Like I said, there's a little bit there, maybe a little bit more in the torque category, but yeah, it's not a huge gain. And like I say, there's a lot of effort and special systems, special maintenance, all that stuff that goes into E85. So is it worth it for that? I don't think so. Like, if that was the only factor, I'd probably be happy to run 98. But where E85 holds its own, and that we've even found the other day, is cooling. You know, on the 98, we had to stop a couple times because the engine, water temps, everything was getting up, even the fuel temp was getting up there, so we had to stop and let everything cool down a bit. But then on the E85, no hassle whatsoever. We could just do run after run, leave the car running, and at no point did it look like it was going to get hot. So yeah, huge advantage of the 85 is the cooling, just helps keep everything colder. And so when you're talking D1 and rounds like Bay Park, we've got ASB coming up, you know, chances are things will get hot, so E85 is definitely a go for that sort of stuff. So another thing obviously is that this is an NA build. If we were talking boost and throwing boosted it, or any of the boosted engines, 2Js, RBs and stuff, that's where E85 can hold its own too, because you can throw as much timing and boost that you like at it, and the fuel ain't going to let you down, whereas 98 will. So if it was a boosted engine, that's where E85 would have an advantage as well. But like I say, for an NA V8 build or whatever, E85 isn't going to give you much in terms of power. So yeah, that was kind of pretty interesting to find out. You know, from here it's awesome, because I can run either 98 or E85 or anything in between. So like I say, come ASB in that this weekend, I'll probably run E85 just for the cooling purposes. But come Pukekohe or some of the wide open tracks, I'm going to start trying to run E50. Just because A, it means I'm not burning ethanol as fast, and B, yeah, hopefully I don't need the same sort of cooling. Also, the thing is that ethanol burns a lot more than what petrol does. So you're going to use a 60 litre tank of ethanol quicker than you're going to use a 60 litre tank of 98. And if we're not burning as much, then yeah, like I say, just costs come down. So come Pukekohe and stuff, I'll probably trial that out and see how it goes. Apart from that, you can see from the dyno, I don't know why it does this, and the torque drops down to around 500, but then before 3 grand, you're back up above 600, you know, so, and then it makes its way all the way back up to there. So that's pretty typical for a V8. Axle torque is way up there on that stuff. And then this is the lead I melted the other day, so don't know if you can see it, but it's not fully broken, it's just starting to perish, and that was what was causing it to break down up top. So yeah, replace that. Like I say, it's super common on this thing. When we made the headers, typically we made it, thought yeah, they look real good, and then we tried to plug the leads in, we're like, oh, a bit close. So yeah, we have that problem, but like I say, we're generally on top of it. As soon as we get misfires and stuff, it's usually what it is, so that's not a major. The factors I was talking about for why we could have made more power the other day, you know, like I said, that was an October tune versus a, so October for us is, you know, spring, middle of spring, things are starting to warm up, whereas this is, now we're in the middle of winter basically, so outside temp is a big factor. You know, you're always going to make more power in the cold, NA or turbo cars. And then the other big factor, like I say, we had E79 versus E85, a proper E85. And then one of the main ones I think actually is, I mentioned it in one of my build breakdown videos, is that the radiator, and the way the radiator is set up is it blows all the hot air over the fuel system, which I never thought was that big a factor, but it turns out we monitored it quite a bit on the weekend, and yeah, that's heating up the fuel quite a bit. So, you know, once the fuel starts getting warm, I'm not sure if it's because it gets thinner, but things start to lean out, and therefore you start losing power. So back in October when we had this done, we didn't really look into that, and it could have been a factor. You know, we could have been heating up the fuel a bit, things dropping off, whereas this time you would have noticed, that's why I had the blue tarp and stuff in the boot, was it was covering my fuel system. So another thing I'm going to have to do is make a shroud that goes between the radiator and the fuel system, just to divert all the air, so all the hot air isn't getting blown straight on it. because yeah, that turned out to be quite a big factor, as it was heating the fuel up quite fast. So yeah, it was quite interesting as well. So I guess, yeah, I can't thank my man Lynn enough for spending the day with us and sorting all this out, and like I say, future-proofing our fuel system in that. And also, like I say, it was a bit of a learning curve with a few things we learned that day. So yeah, happy as with the car. We're pretty much ready to go for D1, a few minor things, and just muck around with car setup, I guess. Until then, yeah, cheers for watching.